The timing is so awesome because in the walk through the door walked Ken Terpstra, who is the project manager of the Bay Bridge. So awesome. So I had created these freeway pieces, like that's an example. I was working on this other series and we wanted to time it with the opening of the Bay Bridge, so Lonnie said, create a piece about the Bay Bridge. And I was still in photo mode, so I was looking at aerial photography of the bridge. I was hanging out on Treasure Island and trying to get good photos. And I went down to the Caltrans office by the bridge to look at the model of the bridge and to get inspiration. And I met Ken, and he's like, hey, let's go for it. I want to take you on the bridge. So this was before it was ready, so I got to walk around on it, and I had been thinking of stepping outside of the photo realm and doing something more sculptural and more outside of my comfort zone. And I was thinking how bridges they're in a soundscape. There's all these sounds like cars, the suspender cables get vibrated in the wind like the strings of an instrument. The decks get vibrated by the cars, there's seagulls, there's boats. It's a very rich sound environment. So I was thinking about the bridge in terms of as an instrument, and I think being on the bridge too, before there are any lines painted on the deck, it seemed like the sculptural quality of it is enhanced. When the function is removed, the form sort of takes over. And I started thinking, oh, they're kind of like these big, keyboards, or it's like a cross between a piano and a harp. I thought, first I was going to build this giant instrument, and then I'm like, why don't I take apart a piano and try to just create a bridge out of only piano parts? So Russ over there was a huge help in helping me create this. We took apart a piano in a person's home with 2 screwdrivers. They were giving away their piano on Craigslist, and took apart the whole piano and fit it in my Hondo Accord. And got home and we're like, what do we do? And finally, piece by piece, it all started to come together. So even the screws that hold the keys into the deck are all came from the piano. So, but I didn't want to take apart the soundboard because I thought I might use that in a piece. So I went to a piano store and asked if they had any extra strings laying around. And they had just detuned a piano, so these are from a different piano. But I was excited about this piano because of this sort of interesting shape on the foot pedal. It has like an Art Nouveau, Art Deco sort of look to it, and you don't really see pianos like that very often. So I like how the soundboard itself looks like a bridge. Yeah. I took aerial photography of freeways and just painted black in all the negative space so that the freeways themselves could be seen as abstract art. I showed those to Lonnie and she was like, okay, these are interesting. I want to see them really big. So, and then the more I started thinking about it, I wanted thick brush strokes or extensions of those brush strokes. Suggesting that it's an artist engineer at work creating these things. And just, I see some similarities between Celtic knotwork and the craft of weaving in freeways. So the black paint also has, some subtle references to oil and the environmental impact of cars and of these structures. And I'm not purely saying these structures are, the best things ever. I'm appreciating them and I'm holding them up as art, but I'm also saying, well, there's also an environmental impact here. And I wanted to link freeways to that tradition of knotwork and weaving and create work that was almost decorative. And I thought that was just an interesting challenge to take freeways and make decorative abstract art out of it. One thing that if you notice the slight blotchiness of the image, they're not totally symmetrical. There's kind of patchy camouflage effect. I, on purpose, didn't seal the image completely on the surface so that when the resin seeped under, it would soak through the paper in certain areas. And I wanted it to, that appealed to me because it sort of gave it a weathered look and connected it to that age-old tradition of Celtic knotwork and tribal work, but also